Greetings, it's naturopath Eric Bakker from New Zealand, author of Candida Crusher. Thanks for checking out my video today. I've got an email here from a lady called Donna in Connecticut. I think that's in America. If I'm correct, it's on the East Coast from memory. Now, Donna's saying here, I just had an ultrasound done on my gallbladder and liver and found out there's something wrong with my gallbladder. Eric, I have fatty liver, can you help me? Can Candida cause any of this? Is there something natural that I can do instead of having surgery to gallbladder? Okay, well that's an interesting question. Let's have a look at this. You know, there's quite a few topics here. I mean, we could do literally 10 videos just on this one email here. So what Donna's saying basically is there's some issues with gallbladder and liver. Fatty liver is very common. Lots of people have fatty liver. And in fact, in America, Australia, New Zealand, and most Western countries, I would say over half the population have some degree of fatty liver. Now, this doesn't necessarily come from drinking lots of alcohol all the time. Okay, so you can get fatty liver from carbos, from eating bread, would you believe it, and sugar. All right? There are lots of foods that can cause fatty liver. Eating too many omega-6s in comparison to omega-3s, you know, rancid fats, too many saturated fats in the diet. Having a poor functioning stomach and pancreas are very common ways to develop a fatty liver even faster, because if you can't break fat down, it's going to be much harder on your liver to deal with fat. Okay, so your gallbladder stores about a pint, about 600 mils of bile during the day. The liver makes bile and stores it in the gallbladder. So the purpose of bile is basically to get rid of rubbish, you know, spent blood cells and all sorts of rubbish, hormonal residues, all sorts of crap the body doesn't want. It will actually, you know, help to shunt into the bile caniculi. It will get rid of a lot of waste products. But bile serves a very useful purpose to break down and emulsify fats in the body. So it's a very important organ to have. I don't recommend people get their gallbladder removed at all. And it's not necessary in most cases. Cholecystectomies are performed by the tens of thousands in America every year. You know, removing the gallbladder, these. And gallbladder operations are far too common. And in many cases, they're performed needlessly without any real, need for the gallbladder to come out. Often when patients complain of digestive pain, the doctors are going to think about appendix problems or gallbladder problems. They're very convenient little areas for the surgeons to get in and to pull these organs out under laparoscopy. But in most cases, the problem's not resolved. That's my opinion. I've seen thousands of women over the years who've had gallbladders removed and have come back and told me that they've still got the same problems. It didn't help. In fact, they got fatter. They put on more weight. All right, they ended up having lots of different problems. You need to have good bile production and bile storage, in my opinion, also to be able to utilize the fat-soluble vitamins more effectively. So what can I do for fatty liver? Well, to start with, you can really look at eating foods that are friendly to the liver, and these are the bitter foods. The liver loves bitter foods. You may have heard of Swedish bitters. So bitters are very important because they help to generate the production of more acids and enzymes in the body. They help to stimulate bile flow, and the gallbladder doesn't like sweet foods, it likes bitter foods. So sweet foods can lead and contribute to elevated triglycerides and also to gallbladder dysfunction and fatty liver. Get a liver function test done by your doctor, an LFT, and look for alkaline phosphatase, ALT, AST, and GGT. These are various liver enzymes which will give you an idea if your liver is a bit fatty or not. So the ranges generally vary on these, but you can look at around about the 0 to 40, depending on the country you live in and the reference range, and I think the ALK phos goes up to about 200. So, if you've got a higher end of the reference range or over, this could mean fatty liver. Fatty liver is very common. You'd be surprised how many people have it. And a good way for you also to assess your liver, Donna, to see if it's painful or engorged, is I'll just stand up and give you a demonstration. So your liver's obviously on the right side, so I've got my rib cage here. So just get 4 fingers like a blade, breathe in, breathe out, and push hard up underneath this whole edge here. So the tip of the liver is here and it goes right through to here. So by pushing underneath here, if you've got any pain in there or it's very tender to touch, that could mean you've got a bit of enlargement of the liver. It's something, again, I commonly see when I palpate patients, is there'll be pain there. Look at the stool, for example. Lots of problems there with constipation or diarrhea. can also be a prelude to fatty liver. The blood test is quite important to do, but if in doubt, get the doctor to check out, the liver region. There is certainly a connection with Candida and liver. Patients who've got major Candida problems often end up with a lot of bowel disorders and also congested liver. So the liver contains many different cells in it that help to filter the blood and clean it. There are these cells called Kupffer cells, which are liver cells, and the liver will become often burdened to a very high degree when the person gets quite toxic in terms of their diet and their lifestyle. And the Candida metabolites, or the byproducts of Candida, as it dies, and bacteria and dead cells and pollens and viruses and all these things clog up the bloodstream, so the liver has to filter these things out. People with toxic bowels, lots of bloating and gas, are much more prone to having fatty liver than people with clean living who don't drink alcohol or eat a lot of these sweet foods. So coming back to the foods, bitter foods are what the liver likes to have. So when I think of bitter foods, I think about lemon, olive leaf, olive oil, quite good. Artichokes are good, carrots are good to have. Anything that tastes bitter in the mouth, Chinese vegetables, endive, I think endive, rocket, salad. These are the sort of things that you really want to focus on with liver cleansing. And you want to avoid the junk foods in the diet, the alcohols and the soda drinks and these sorts of things. They're going to contribute to liver congestion and ultimately fatty liver. Low-grade nausea and sickness, bad taste in the mouth, headaches in the morning, feeling very tired, very emotional, very angry. These are all signs that you could have a fatty liver. You don't need to get the gallbladder out. I'll do some other videos on liver and particularly the gallbladder flush, on how to clean the gallbladder out, because it's one organ that can be cleansed in the body effectively. So you need to take care when you're going to do a gallbladder flush, but I can show you specific ways to achieve this and to get a very, very nice outcome to prevent you getting the gallbladder out. So focus on the bitter foods, kick the sugar, kick the sweet and processed foods. I just actually shared a post on Facebook where they found now that processed foods now are absolutely linked to autoimmune diseases. So foods that are packaged and processed in boxes and this sort of rubbish in the supermarket. So fresh foods are always going to keep the gut and the liver clean. And this is what you want to focus on. I've written extensively about this in Candida Crusher in the section called the MEVI diet. So I've written hundreds of pages on diet and nutrition. You can read that on yeastinfection.org, or you can purchase my book and you can read over 700 pages of information packed on how to keep your health in top shape and how to get rid of Candida and avoid getting it in future. So I hope that gives you a bit of insight into fatty liver and gallbladder, Donna. So thanks for your email.